The Miami Heat quietly checked off a couple of helpful boxes during the 2025 NBA offseason, but they failed to find an instant impact floor general. That's a worry for a lot of reasons, but the biggest concern is what this glaring absence on the roster will, or more accurately won't, do for star center Bam Adebayo. Pair him with a high-end shot creator, and the possibilities could be endless. His finishing could perk up. His defense might grow even more disruptive since he'd be carrying a lighter offensive load. And if this floor general was a defense-bending sharpshooter from range, no one would bother worrying about whether Adebayo had finally harnessed his own outside shot or not. With the roster as is, though, Adebayo remains without a perfectly complementary co-star. And that just might keep him and this team from maxing out their potential. The Heat's problems at point guard will impact Adebayo the most. While the initial excitement surrounding the selection of Kasparas Giannis shouldn't be thrown out the window, his rough showing at Summer League suggests he could face a steep learning curve while transitioning to this level. Davion Mitchell was great down the stretch last season, but he's a defense-first contributor who's never been regarded as anything close to an elite creator. Tyler Herro is a capable playmaker, but he's a scorer first and foremost. The less said about Terry Rozier, the better. As far as the point guard position goes, that's it. That's all Miami has stored away for the 2025-26 season. Maybe the right trade target surfaces at some point, but there's no guarantee that would happen, or even that Miami would place the winning bid if it did. The Heat seem locked in with these lead guards, and that can't make Adebayo feel great about his own outlook. He's a dominant defender who finishes with authority and makes good decisions with the basketball. He's not, however, a make-something-out-of-nothing type of creator. There isn't much self-sufficiency with his scoring. For his career, more than 63% of his two-pointers have been assisted per Basketball Reference. And all of that is fine. Or rather, it would be fine if Miami had a bona fide floor general leading the charge. The Heat haven't given him that, or anything close to it for that matter. When Adebayo has to fend for himself, his efficiency goes in the tank. You'd think someone with his size, strength, and athleticism would be unstoppable as a pick-and-roll screener, yet he was just a 32nd percentile scorer on those plays this past season, per NBA.com. That's an unforgivable number, and one that says just as much, if not more, about the players around Adebayo than it does about him. It's also looking like it'll once again be a weakness for the upcoming campaign, because Miami doesn't have a player who can obviously and consistently get him the ball in the right spots. He needs help on the offensive end, and the Heat could be kicking themselves for not providing it. Kasparas Giannis took some time to find his foot during his NBA Summer League experience, but Bleacher Report was way too critical in their assessment of his performance. Giving him a D+ in their Summer League grades wrap-up breakdown was completely too harsh for several reasons. The large reasoning behind the D+ grade revolved around his struggles in his first 3 games. And that's 100% fair. However, the grade doesn't truly reflect the improvements that Giannis made during his final 3 games in the Las Vegas Summer League. Kasparas Giannis recovered nicely in Las Vegas. Admittedly, Giannis was quite terrible during his first 3 games. Over that span, he was 1-15 from the field and finished with a total of 6 assists and 12 turnovers. Not great. However, he did a great job of turning things around in Las Vegas, as he would go on to average 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists on 45% shooting from the field and 35% shooting from three-point range. That type of improvement shouldn't be glossed over, especially for such a young player. That's the type of improvement that the Heat should be proud and excited about. The biggest problem I had with BR's criticism of Giannis is that they consistently harped over his negatives and gave little credit to his positives. I also think they graded him on a negative curve just because he was supposed to be selected in the lottery. Even though Giannis was considered a steal for the Heat at number 20, I do feel as if many have lottery expectations for him. And that's not fair. At the end of the day, Giannis was the 20th pick, no matter where he was supposed to be drafted. The Heat continue to be an easy target. None of this is surprising, though. The Heat have constantly been an easy target. And that's what Giannis quickly realized. Sure, there was some disappointment with how Giannis looked throughout this first couple of Summer League games, but he should get some credit with how he managed to evolve in such a short time. It would have been one thing had Jakushioni's consistently struggled throughout the course of Summer League, and that simply wasn't the case. Plus, it's almost as if he was playing an entirely different role with the Heat. Jakushioni's was playing more without the ball in his hands, and that's not something he's used to after his freshman season at Illinois. That should also be taken into consideration when grading his overall Summer League performance. Was Jakushioni's perfect? No, and far from it. However, it's hard to look at his criticisms from BR as fair. And that's the honest truth. The Miami Heat have made progress this summer. Acquiring former Los Angeles Clippers guard Norman Powell is a low-risk, high-reward deal. But there's still plenty of time for further upgrades. One recent FanNation trade proposal suggests Miami could land Utah Jazz star Lauri Markkanen in a blockbuster trade with the Atlanta Hawks. Hawks receive SVI Mykhailiuk. Heat receive Lauri Markkanen, KJ Martin. Jazz receive Andrew Wiggins, Terry Rozier, Jamie Jaquez Jr., 2029 MIA first-round pick, unprotected, 2031 MIA first-round pick, top 5 protected, 2031 ATL second-round pick, via ATL/HQ. The article wrote, Miami got completely outclassed by Cleveland in the first round of the 2025 playoffs. They need to add more scoring and two-way contributors that can survive in the playoffs if they want to make it back to the NBA Finals after their run in 2023. They've struggled to acclimate to the departure of Jimmy Butler, and it may be time to make another star acquisition to complement Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro. The Heat would dish out Andrew Wiggins, but would boast Adebayo, Markkanen, and sophomore Kel'el Ware in the starting frontcourt. Ware had an impressive rookie campaign, averaging 9.3 points and 7.4 rebounds, while shooting 55.4% from the field. Markkanen dipped in production last season, averaging 19 points on 42.3% from the field and 34.6% from three-point range. Still, he would help boost the offensive unit, especially paired in the frontcourt alongside Adebayo. He could potentially become a top 2 or 3 scorer in this lineup, alleviating some pressure off Adebayo on that end.